Hello everyone, this is Darren with G2 Tactical. We are a team and we also run a field in Springfield, Ohio. Uh, we created this M1 RSED, the Model 1 reusable sound emitting device, because at the time ATF had banned pretty much all the hand grenades that you could get that were one-time use, like the EG67, the Tag 67, etc. Plus, we were seeing the trend of these hand grenades kind of going up over time. I remember back when you can get them for like $8, and now today they're $12. The tag in 67s are $16 to $17. So we're trying to create a cost-effective way that this hobby can still thrive, especially with people having struggling budgets nowadays. So what we've got here is a 3D printed out of resin, anycubic tough resin using a resin printer. And this resin is really good with impacts and so forth. But one thing we've come to notice is that it's not very strong long term with having a constant force applied to it. It will warp, it will separate. We've only had one separate up here, but that's it. But we have also noticed sometimes you'll get an imprint from using the 209 shotgun primers is what goes in there. So we'll be selling the STL files and a hardware pack, which is all the metal innards of these devices. So with that, what you'll get is the firing pin, the safety ring insert. You will get two of these couplers, the rod, the washer, the two nuts, and the new actual firing pin tip. Now, with that, there is a 3D printed washer on the inside of here, because as you can see with this washer, it's got a big opening. That's one of the STL files you will get that you have to print. You'll have to print what I call the head, the base, the body, and the washer. Oh, and I'll include the nub as well. So there'll be 5 parts to the STL file, which you can find on Calls 3D, so that you can have instant access to the files. The base right here has a dissipation base. The new model that you'll be getting, I believe, has some side ports on it. If not, they both work just fine and just as easily. We've used these for probably 30 to 50 rounds a piece. We had 10 of them. We've been testing the crap out of them with great success. With the primer, is a friction fit, so it gets pushed in there. To get it back out, there's 2 options. One, I like to use my Benchmade and just pry it out. Or 2, you can use the hole there and use a screwdriver of some sort, or really a stick or anything, and push through there to back out. Now, and the other hardware that you will get with this is what I call the thick wall insert, or the cap. Other piece here, which is the thin wall insert with a rubber gasket. Okay, so you can either put it in now or wait till you get closer to assembly, or after you put the thin wall in the top of the head. You only have to snug this in. You don't have to wrench down on it. Make sure that your rubber gasket's in there. Put your thick wall cap in. And snug that up. Now you'll have to play with this after you get it all assembled. to get the timing correct. To put the safety pin in, there is a metal insert here as well. Make sure when you're putting these metal inserts in, they have a little groove cut in the top. That's so that you can use your tool. Okay. So you'll screw this in here first, and you'll screw the safety pin in. And one thing I want to show you real quick is you'll want to adjust the safety pin for one special feature that I like. Alright, so now you can see the safety pin. Now, when you load these, this is a really good thing about this nub. When you go to push it in, it actually just pushes the pin out of the way, so then you can go and lock it in. If you didn't have that nub, you just have to pull this out and then push the firing pin in. But anyhow, loaded, there's a slight little gap in the back. Now you can either not worry about that or whatever, but I like it because then I know it's loaded. I actually would probably tighten this up a little bit more so I have a bigger gap there, so I specifically know that I loaded this one. Put these back in real quick. And this is the Swiss tools. I forget what the name of it's called, but I'll have a link in the description, and I'll have a link on our website. It's a Amazon affiliate link, so if you would please use that so we can get a little commission. Since we are a team and a field, we use this money. All this money will be used to build up our field even more. We're out of Springfield, Ohio. We got the largest field in the state at 180 acres. We acquired it 2 years ago, and it's been a blast working there ever since. We built our own shop with our bare hands, the building and everything. So it's been a lot of fun. All right, with that said, you'll get us in the spring here. I think I might have forgot to mention that. This will all be, all the metal and that rubber insert will be a part of the hardware pack. So you'll assemble this with the two couplers, and I have been using blue Loctite to lock these all together. So you'll get two couplers, the rod, the two nuts, and then the washer. So remember to put that pre-printed washer on the inside. Bottom nut here, you don't want to screw it on all the way, because what you need to happen is enough threading be there so you can put the new firing pin that we've got on there. Okay, so it's basically I share the thread with the rod and that. Then when you put the washer on, the spring on, make sure it's seated properly. If not, it's not a huge deal. I'll show you here in a second. When you go to load this, simply just push it on. It clicks into place. You can kind of see that not exactly like straight. Sometimes you can just push it over, and then it fully seat around the flame of that washer. That keeps that nice and straight. And you can see how nice and straight that's really nice. And then to test it, all you do is I just pull it in my hand and let that hit my palm. So that was almost near instant, so I would want to tighten this up a little bit. It doesn't take much. But you could then, because of this adjustability, you could then use it as like an instant grenade. So like if you wanted to do a tripwire or something, boom, you got it made, you know? One thing I would recommend also not doing, since like I was talking about, these are not, the tough resin is not really good for like constant pressure. We were using these to hold it still when we were applying it, and we ended up like putting a groove inside these, and then they wouldn't hold the primers anymore. So find a different way to do that. So I like to give them a little tug too, just to make sure that it is properly seated. But But you can see, like, as I just adjusted a little bit, getting better and better. So once you've got that done, then you can assemble the body. Just screws on, and then you put your primer in, and then you screw this down. One thing I will note is these are some pretty thick threads. However, of course, near the very end, they get thin. Take a knife and shave it off. Sometimes I do it on both, just to make sure that they just don't start tearing and ripping, like you can kind of see starting to chip or whatever. So, but I mean, these things have been used 30 to 50 times a piece. We got 10 of them. We've been trying them out and doing real well. That's it for the assembly. Now for maintenance on these things, of course, you want to make sure all your parts are good. There's nothing cracked, all that stuff. Make sure that your primer heats in there and stays in there. Okay. The other thing is sometimes you'll have it to where like you're having a tough time adjusting the time, and I've come to find out that sometimes if I'm not too careful, I can get these marred up or scratched or whatever. They really kind of need to be smooth. Sometimes putting like a light silicone oil on it helps out, and sometimes also taking out the rubber bushing that's in here and cleaning it as well helps out. Otherwise, you probably just need to replace that. I do believe that's everything. So if there's any questions, feel free to email us and contact us. We will have, like I said, the hardware will be for sale on our website, and the 3D print files, the STLs, will be available on Cult's hardware. The STL files will be available on Cult's 3D for you to instantly purchase and obtain. We don't care if any, who all prints them or whatever. If you want us to print these, we can. We can send them to you. Kind of struggling for time because we're building our field and everything. So we figured it'd be best just to put the STL files out there for you guys to be able to print these and easily repaired units. So like if you break one, we've only had one unit break, and it was the head, and that was because we left the spring inside of it, and I think it caused a lot of tension on the safety spring here, and it cracked the top of the head. I definitely don't leave these in your car or any place that can be hot, because they will warp, they do get soft, all that stuff. But support us, please, with purchasing our hardware and the STLs, and we will make other things. Like we have an idea for a mortar. That'd be great to build.